Welcome to the channel, guys. Well, we've got some goodies up here that we're going to be playing with in the next few months. We've got a couple of new products from Flywing. As you can see here, we've got these two bad boys. Forget about the RC drift car. That one I modified and built a few years ago now, but we'll do some filming and I'll show you actually a few little bits and pieces on this because it's actually a cool little drift car. But we're going to focus on the helicopters for now. So these are the 470 scale. That's the Bell 206 and the EC 135. We're going to be modifying them extensively too. So there's a lot of reviews on them already on YouTube, and a lot of them obviously in these standard colours. So we've got a lot of accessories to do on them in the next couple of months. And obviously we're going to be flying them around the Mornington Peninsula down here in Victoria. So got some good locations to fly them. We have just been calibrating and setting them up because out of the box, as you know, you do need to test and check everything, make sure the screws are all tight, that sort of stuff. So we're going to go over a few bits and pieces. For now, we'll probably just get our attention onto the Bell and work out what parts and bits we're going to change on them. We're definitely going to respray both of these. We're not going to leave them in their liveries as they are. Like I said, there's so many of them out there now. I just want to do something a little bit more individualistic, of course. And down the track, we've got a couple of new radios that we're going to be using too. That's the stock radio, obviously, that comes with the Flywing unit. So I've gone and put a few colour-coded switches on them just so we know what's going on, and a few little mods inside that as well that we've changed a few settings around. So let's have a look at the Bell, and I'll go over a few things that we're going to be changing on it. Righto, so let's have a bit of a look at the Bell 206. Now this one I've had already taken out the main motor assembly, and you can see here, I'll just pull it out. I've taken the screws out already. There's basically 4 screws that take it out. So we just put the fuselage aside for a minute. And obviously I've had that calibrated already. I've also undone the aerial wires. We're going to put one underneath and one on the side just to get a bit more range out of it. Anyway, that's that done. Again, gone over it with the tools. Just double checked all these little points here that need to be tightened up, and they're all good. What we are going to be doing to this fuselage is we're going to be respraying it. Before I respray it, I'm actually going to just put it back together and fly it just in this livery for just one time at least. And then once we've had a fly on it, we're going to, respray it, but then also I'm going to put some LED strobe lights on it, and we're going to, some of them are LED, some of them are strobe. I'll just show you those guys. So I've got a couple of different kits that we're going to use. These are the Flytron strobes, and they're super bright. So we're going to retrofit those, but also I've got the standard, this is just the one that you get off AliExpress or Banggood or any of those sort of places, but that's just a standard LED kit. And also I have some other strobe ones. Now these ones are from Evans in the States. They come with their own little power source, a little 3-volt power source. And so I've just got a couple of different variations. I can show those ones. And these are actually strobes. They're not just LEDs. The LEDs don't seem to be strong enough outside. So you can see there, there's some part numbers for people at home. So 3mm in red. There's a 1.8mm also in red, so that's like a really tiny, you can see how small that LED there is. So I just want to experiment and see what is going to work for here. What you don't want to do is plug your LED lights into the receiver. Flywing say not to do that, so they're going to have their own power source, and either I'm going to use these, or I do have a very small battery here, this one here, so we can also use that too as a power source. So we'll see what we're going to do. I haven't really decided yet. I mean, I've got the 2 helicopters to put lighting in. I know with the bell there is supposed to be some lights on here and on the top of the tail fin and underneath here, and I think even one on the front over here. So there's a fair bit to do. I won't do the lighting until it's painted. The other thing I'm also going to do is we have a lot of 3D printed parts, and I'm just going to pull a few of them out. I haven't got all of them here. These are from a website in the UK, which I'll put the link down, but you can down in the description. You can see here these guys make some really cool stuff. Again, some of them are for the EC 135 and some for the Bell. But there's, you know, little antenna. There's little antenna pieces or handles. There's some really cool stuff. There's some slightly bigger ones as well. Yeah, that sort of thing. It's just going to make the detail a little bit... I like detailed stuff. I want it to try and make it look as authentic as I can. So, you know, that's what we're going to be focusing on with both the choppers, is just trying to make them a bit more detailed than they are. I mean, there's plenty of them out there that are just going to be like this. So, you know, we want to modify the skids a little bit and go from there. One thing I might do, and I've just noticed it on a few videos, is the tail stabilizer, this top one. I've seen it flopping around in some of the videos, and to me that just does not seem very, very strong, and I've seen it wobble around. So I might even take this off and remake it out of carbon fibre. I've got a lot of background in fiberglass composites and carbon fibre moulds. I mean, I even thought about making another chassis, taking a mould off this one and making a carbon fibre chassis. Who knows, maybe in the future I might do it. But, you know, I've had 37 years of surfboard making and prop building and doing a lot of carbon fibre work. So I wouldn't mind remaking that tail, just make it a bit stiffer, but make it light. That could be down the track too. So anyway, that's going to be what we're going to be doing with this one. And then we'll probably move our focus over to the 135 as well. So I've done the calibration and this is ready to go back in. We'll put this back in and bolt it up, and then we can go and take it for a fly.
2 hours later.
Righto guys, so we're out in the field. We're going for the maiden voyage here. Steve-O's is going to be the cameraman, and let's see what happens here. There we go. Forwards, backwards, we go forwards. Okay, there's the angles.
Yeah, so it's pretty stable. It's good. We'll go a bit higher. Drop it down a bit. Probably a bit windier up there. A bit of a circle work. And we'll come down for a bit of a landing here. There we go, first flight. Let that spool down. Awesome. We'll take it back to the home.
Righto, we are back at home base and we're now going to start pulling this thing apart and getting it ready for masking and painting. So first thing first, I've actually taken out the screws that hold the whole motor assembly, so we can just slide this out like so. Put him aside like that. Next thing we're going to do is remove the skids on the bottom, take the stabilizer off, take the motor out. So let's flip it upside down. And I think these are going to be a very small Phillips head, they are. So let's get that sorted. Okay. So what we're going to do here is remove these screws completely. Now there is different models of bells that don't have this stepped section here. They literally just have the skids. We're going to cut this piece off on both sides, and I have another spare set of these anyway, but I want to try to cut some weight out of this thing because we're going to be adding lights and batteries and other bits and pieces. I want to try to lighten this up even more. So yeah, that's what we're going to do. We're going to cut these sections off. We'll do that at a later point. Let us put these screws into their hole. I've got a little plastic bag here just to put all the hardware in so we don't lose it. Done. Now, tail stabilizer. Like I was saying before, we want to modify this because I want to put an LED light on the top of the stabilizer, and there really is no provision to do it because it's just a, hunk of plastic like this, right? So there's, if you were going to tape the wire up the back here, it would just look a bit janky. So I'm going to remake it with a cavity inside so that you can run the wire up, and then we'll be able to run a little beacon up on top of it. Also, I don't think it's rounded here. I think it's a bit more squared off, so we might change the shape on that one. So that, next, put those screws in their spot as well. Take off the motor. You can see the motor screws are a fine thread. Okay, take those off. and out the motor can come. So we'll just have to make sure we thread him through. Okay, pull him out. Okay, there's our motor. You can see where obviously the 3 screws get mounted in. Make sure you put some Loctite back on those when you put the motor back in. Now we'll pop that aside. So I think that's going to do for the disassembly. We're going to have to obviously tape up these windows because we don't want to get paint on those. Also the grills. I might actually be able to press these grills out and re-glue them on. I might do that because it might be easier than trying to tape. No, they're glued too nicely inside, so we won't do that. Okay, we will take this out to the workshop and start the masking process. Righto guys, so we're in the workshop. One of the first things we're going to do is we're going to sand off all these rivets because they're just way too big for the scale. So I'm going to sand those off flat, and then we're going to just use the Dremel with a very small carbide tip to just do the reversed version, which will be obviously not sticking out but in, but it'll just be a little bit more accurate than these ones, and we can sort of be a bit, you know, go around the whole thing and put a few more in there. Some of them here have been actually, you know, you can see they've sort of disappeared there, and they've disappeared on the tail too. Another mod we're going to do as well is we're going to actually cut the tail off it and spin this around and re-fiberglass it back on again, because I'm going to do the rear prop on the correct side, but also it'll be a pusher to a puller, which will create less sound. So yeah, it's a bit drastic. People are going to freak out, but yeah, look, it's only fiberglass. Like I said, I've worked with this stuff for many years, so we'll probably lop it off about just here. And then when we go to reattach it, I'll put a couple of reinforcement strips inside it and then fiberglass on the outside it. So we'll sand that all back and fix it up. So first off, we'll just give this thing a sand and get rid of these nasty rivets. So I'm actually using a 240 sandpaper. It's not too aggressive, which is good, and I'm just feeling to make sure that I'm actually getting them level and they're not still sticking up. We're still a little bit high on that one, so I could use a 180, but it might be a little bit too aggressive for the fiberglass. And you can see nice and smooth. We'll go down this side now. So they're all been taken care of. A little bit high there still. Now up in this section here, I can't get the sander into that, so I'll use the Dremel with just a little drum sander, and we can just quickly nip those ones off. This is nice and smooth now, which is good. All right, we'll continue on to the other side. Just get in here. Righto, so now that we've kind of got all these rivets disappeared, we're just using a little brown Scotch Brite, and that's just to scuff over all the rest of the paint, because we want to get this thing keyed so that the primer will stick. Once the primer's on, then we can have a look and make sure that we haven't got any imperfections that we want to change and get rid of. You can see I'm just really taking the shine off it, because that's all you need to do. I mean, it's been freshly painted, so just, you know, really scuffing it up. We're going to also drill all the holes for the strobe lights and the other lights that we're going to be putting on this, so they have to be drilled as well. You can see where I've done all the taping. I did actually remove, if you look inside here, I did remove the mesh, the fly wire mesh that's inside. We can just re-glue that in once it's been painted, because I didn't want to have that painted the colour of the helicopter. So we'll just do this. It's really giving it a good scuff up. Now, for the people playing at home that want to do this, I'm actually going to be using automotive paint, 2-pack, 2K in America they call it, you know, hardener, and it's not acrylic or a single stage, so it is a two-part paint, so good quality stuff. You do need to wear a respirator when you're using it. And I mean, if you're a model maker, well, you can just buy them in a little can. But I'll be using a spray gun to spray this. So we'll definitely have some entertaining parts to come up. You can just see what I'm doing to the surface. It's really just keying it so that the paint will stick. Some people might think it's a bit crazy to respray it, but you know, everybody wants their own thing. I didn't really want a Los Angeles fire livery, and I'm actually in the emergency services here in Australia anyway, but I just figured, nah, I want to do something different. Just on the tail here, we are going to be actually adding a strobe light in the tail. Right in the tip right here we're going to put one, because that's where they do have one in real life. So we're going to try to replicate that. Now, the more time you spend in preparation, the better finish you'll get. So if you rush the sanding stage, you'll get flaking paint and not a good finish. So take your time and, you know, do a good job. No half-assedness. Righto, so let's have a bit of a look-see, make sure that we haven't missed anything. So basically what happens now that you've got it sanded, once you put the primer on it, it's going to show up any issues that you've missed, and then you can go back over stuff. It's a really good idea just to put one colour on it, and you'll see whether or not you've missed some of the rivets, or you know, you might not pick it all up. So it feels pretty good. All right, we'll go on to the canopy. Got to be mindful that we're not scratching the perspex or the clear. Okay guys, so we're just drilling some holes in it now. We've drilled one at the front here for a front spotlight. We have drilled one underneath here for a red strobe. We've drilled one on the tail, and what I've done with this one is I've made it so the drill bit comes in on an angle, and you can see where it exits out through the side here. So I'll be able to just get the tiny little wires out around the side of the motor, and then we can run them up inside and out to the front. So there will be a white light on the back here, and then the tail fin, I'm going to remake this and make it where it's got an internal wire in it so that we can have the red strobe up on the top here. So I'll remake this out of carbon fibre because it's pretty flimsy too. So anyway, cool. The other two holes we're going to put one on the top up here as well, so we can drill that in, and also the two navigation lights we're going to drill through the side of here and through the side of here. Could be quite tricky to see what happens inside it. I've actually added a few more little holes in the frame here just to lighten it up a bit more, because we are going to be adding a small battery and all the lighting as well. So righto guys, well I think we'll leave it for that episode. Stay tuned for the next one when we continue getting it into primer, and then I can show you the colour scheme that we're going to go with. So we'll see you in the next video.